One of the first quests that you receive in Stardew Valley is the Raising Animals quest, which instructs you to build a coop. Now, I always thought this quest was super weird, as building a coop is really difficult in the beginning of a Stardew Valley playthrough, as it requires a ton of raw resources and money. Most players don't end up building theirs until like the middle of their first summer, but I wanted to see if I could actually follow this advice and put it to the absolute limit. What was the first day I could actually build a coop on my farm? Or was it even possible to do it on the very first day of a new playthrough? To build a coop, you need 3 different things: 300 wood, 100 stone, and 4000 G. I guess that's technically 4,400 things, but you get the point. If we could just get those 3 things before Robin's closes at 5, we'd be able to build the coop on the very first day of our new farm. But is that even possible? I decided to take it upon myself to try this out. Despite it being a ton of resources, I had a couple tricks up my sleeve that I thought might be able to get this done quickly. I spawned in on a new farm and got to grinding out the coop. So what exactly was my plan? Well, if you're a longtime fan of this channel, I'm sure it comes as no shock to you. Clay farming. If you still happen to be unfamiliar with the concept of clay farming, let me briefly try and explain it to you. Basically, in an effort to make it easier for Concerned Ape to code Stardew Valley, instead of making it a random chance that hoeing up a piece of dirt gives you a piece of clay, he decided to instead have the clay change locations in a pattern based on how many tiles you've tilled. This is because coding true randomness is extremely difficult. In fact, it's basically impossible. This would go unknown by most players, but could be tracked easily by most hardcore players. All this to say, the pattern that Concerned Ape implemented can easily be tracked because, you know, it's a pattern. By using this pattern, we can essentially guarantee every single time we hoe a tile, it'll hold a piece of clay. Now, you might be thinking, what do we need all this clay for? I thought we were supposed to be gathering wood, stone, and money. Now, while that is true, all of those required materials can be purchased with money from Robins, meaning that if we just get enough money and we go to Robin's, we could buy all of the stone and wood we needed. Clay sells for a whopping 20 G, and this quickly adds up. In fact, most Stardew Valley min-maxers do this on the first couple days in the valley when there isn't much else to do. So with that goal in mind, I went down to the beach and started looking for a piece of clay to start the pattern on to start our clay farming adventure. I performed this by smacking this one spot on the beach over and over and over again until I have a clay pattern that spawns starting on this tile. Once I brute force the pattern to start on this tile, then I can go to work and start hoeing up the pattern along the beach. The main problem with this method is it can take a really long time to force a piece of clay to spawn on this starting tile. This not only takes up time, but also energy, with each attempt taking 4 energy, 2 from hoeing and 2 from pickaxing. Meaning I'm starting off the pattern with usually around half energy. Because of this, I end up running out of energy around 11:20, with only 85 pieces of clay. Usually when I run out of energy, I'll just head over to Gus's and pick up a salad. But Gus doesn't open until 12:30 on Mondays, so we're forced to generally putz around for an hour until he opens. Once Gus opens his doors, we can go buy 2 salads for full energy, but at this point, it's way too late. Robin's closes at 5, and at 4 o'clock, we only have 140 clay. For reference, in order to afford the coop and buy all the resources that we need, we'd have to hoe up 450 clay. So we were a bit of a ways off. With a heavy hit to our confidence, I realized that trying to brute force the clay farm method was 100% impossible. But I wasn't gonna give up that easy. It was time for me to whip out my secret weapon: the Stardew Valley Map Predictor. The Map Predictor is a tool developed by the legendary Stardew Valley speedrunner / coder / overall genius Blade. Blade developed a tool that allows you to predict where basically everything in the game will spawn based on the seed number. It allows you to see where staircases will spawn in the mines, which spots will give the most potato harvests, and most importantly for our purposes, where clay will spawn. The predictor is able to do this using only your seed for the exact reasons I stated earlier about clay. Everything that seems random in Stardew Valley is actually just a series of tiles moving in a pattern. Using this, we'll be able to see where our clay pattern is at all moments. That way, we can just go over to the tile that says it holds clay, hoe there, and boom! Piece of clay. This takes out all of the pattern work that we needed in the other way, and instead allows us to just follow where the beautiful little predictor tells us where the clay is. The other reason I wanted to try and use the predictor as opposed to brute forcing on the beach is a purely spatial reason. On the beach, even on my best days, I can usually only haul up around 180 clay. This is because the beach is just pretty small. The farm, on the other hand, is a lot larger, leaving a lot more room to be able to farm tons and tons of clay. The problem is that generally, it's pretty hard to track your pattern on the farm, due to all the debris that stands in your way. But with the predictor, this wouldn't be something we'd have to worry about. I hop into a new farm, throw my seed in the predictor, and get to work trying to farm the clay I needed. I decided to plan the beach farm as there is a huge open area here at the bottom of the map that has no stone, wood, or trees, making it much easier for us to clear out for our purposes. Now, this was my first time ever using the predictor, so I was far from an expert. In fact, I struggled quite a bit with it. Despite it looking really easy, I mean from the surface, all I have to do is look at the handy tool and then smack the exact tile it told me to. In reality, things did not work out that smoothly. Firstly, you have to update the predictor after every tile you hoe. Like I said earlier, the pattern moves every single time you hoe a tile, so if you even miss a single tile hoed in the predictor, you completely lose track of where the clay is, and you have to completely scrap the file. This happened to me several times. Secondly, while it's pretty easy to follow the pattern at first, eventually, between the grass, the stumps, and the other tiles we hoed, it becomes an absolute mindfuck. I mean, look at this thing! How am I ever supposed to figure out what goes where in this sea of grids and grass and clay and who knows what's going on here? Despite my best efforts to try and effectively predict this clay, I couldn't even get close. Even though I can pause momentarily between each hoe, my inability to effectively move from clay to clay sets me back monumentally. On this first run, I realized that I only have 95 clay at 1 o'clock, which doesn't even put me close to the pace I would need to have almost quadruple that number in just 3 hours. I try running it back again using the predictor, this time on the standard farm. You know, just to mix things up. This run starts off a lot cleaner. I used a little space directly in front of the farmhouse as it's easy to clear and track in this wide open space. And things are going much better without the big stumps in our way. In fact, at 9:40, I already have 50 clay, putting me right on pace to get all the clay that I'll need. However, once I've hoed every conceivable tile in this little starting area, I'm forced to move locations, and this sets me back a ton. Upon moving, I really lose my way, and have to spend more time clearing the tiles than actually farming clay. Because of this setback, I end up with 97 clay at 2 o'clock, putting me behind my previous run, despite my pace beforehand being way ahead. It was at this point I realized something. I am horrible at Stardew Valley, which many of you probably realized long ago. But despite that, it was time for me to prepare my true secret weapon. Yes, this is my third secret weapon I've mentioned in this video, but I promise this one will work. It was time for me to utilize the same thing that anime protagonists for generations have used. Something that seems to overcome any obstacle. The power of friendship. That's right, while I determined that this is 110% impossible to do on your own, or should I say for me to do on my own, I decided to see if I could perform this in co-op. Now, routing in co-op is significantly harder than routing in single player. As in multiplayer, not only do you have to route multiple people, but you also don't have the ability to pause. When I was doing this on my own, I could pause to enter this information into the predictor to see what my next move would be. I could also switch tools while paused to save in-game time. But gone are those luxuries in a multiplayer run. Because of our collective inability to use the predictor in this run, we'd have to have the routing nailed down to a T. I decided to take all night and start routing out a complex plan for me and 3 other people to try tackling building this behemoth together. And after much testing and routing and searching for the perfect seed, I found a route that I think could get us to 4,000 G, 300 wood, and 100 stone all before 5 PM. I called up some of my Stardew friends, Wickedy, ATwentySomethingLoser, and Blade, to come join me and fill the 4 roles I had created for this run. And after Blade told me that my seed was actually not perfect in finding the true perfect seed...
So that piece of clay right beside those 3 dots there...
Yeah?
...is in the middle of the diagonal line of 5.
Okay.
You want the first bit of clay to be at the bottom of one of those lines.
Okay, well, I can look for another one.
Here, I found one.
Oh, damn. He's so quick with it. He's so quick with it. How does he do it?
It's so sharp.
We were ready to tackle this coop once and for all. But even though I had done all this prep time, I had never done a test run with 4 people. In fact, I had no way of knowing if this was possible at all. So would we be able to pull off the impossible task of building a coop on the first day? I got this. Okay. 3, 2, 1, go. Okay. Upon starting this run, everyone immediately runs outside and hands me their parsnip seeds. While this seems futile, trust me, this is important. After handing me their seeds, everyone runs off to their respective locations to complete the tasks they've been given. Firstly, we have me and Wickedy. We are the resource gatherers. It's our job to chop down trees for the 300 wood and pickaxe up the 100 required stones. Well, ordinarily, we wouldn't have enough energy to collect the 150 wood and 50 stone each. Multiplayer introduces the ability to sleep in your bed. Sleeping in a bed allows you to slowly restore energy. With our insane animation canceling skills, we are easily able to get these resources in just a couple hours, giving us plenty of time to sleep. Lee, on the other hand, heads down to the beach, as she is tasked with getting the majority of the clay that we're gonna need. Since we're now manually getting all of the wood and stone, we only need 200 clay for the 4000 G required for the coop building. Lee is tasked with getting 150 of this 200 clay. We found a seed in which Lee's clay pattern will start on the very first hoe on the beach, meaning she'll waste no time in getting straight into her pattern. This will make it significantly easier for her to do it in a timely manner, as she'll be able to start immediately and also take a lot longer to run out of energy. Lee is one of the best clay farmers in the Stardew Valley speedrunning scene, so we knew that she could easily take on this task. Lastly, we have Blade. He's headed down to the bottom of the farm for what I think is probably the hardest job. Blade is tasked with farming the final 50 clay that we'll need. And while it may seem like he's got the easy job since Lee is farming 3 times as much clay as him, like I said earlier, doing clay farming on the beach is much easier than doing clay farming on the actual farm. This seed also allows Blade to get clay on his very first till, but having to maneuver around the farm debris is going to make his average rate of clay collection almost half as slow as Lee's. And with all of that, the roles were clear, and everything seems to be going perfectly to plan at first. After grinding out the 150 required wood for a bit, I rest to restore my energy. I actually finished so early that I decided to slightly change the plan. Originally, Wickedy was going to get all the stone, and I was to sell the parsnips to bring Lee a salad and a coffee so that she could continue clay farming. But I figured we were so ahead of schedule that I might as well help out Wickedy on a bit of the stone. This ends up being a huge mistake and snowballs into a large problem for the rest of the run. The rest of this run is super high stakes, all because of my one error, so I'll just let you watch it for yourself. What's your energy at, Lee? Status report.
None.
None?
Yeah, I have 100 pieces of clay.
Blade, what are you sitting at?
79.
Oh, okay. Oh, he did overtime.
I've lost my pass. I'm just going to run to Robin's now. Hello.
Hey, buddy.
Yeah, let me break these for you.
Oh,
Alright,
thanks.
we're just waiting on-
Thanks, pal. I'm
Great. We're just waiting on Lee
heading
then, right?
up then.
Ran into a predicament because I also lost my pattern.
Oh no!
So I have 111 pieces of clay right now.
How much do you have, Blade?
83. So I've got 33 more. We need another 6.
Okay.
I've
Wait,
got-
wait. I can just follow in her pattern.
No, you need to start over at spot 1. If you
Yeah.
haven't told yet.
No, that's what I'm doing. I'm just going one by one. Here. Pickaxe them for me.
Go.
I've got 6. Okay.
Okay, go.
Let's go. Wait, hand me the other. No.
Here.
Yeah, hand me the other one. Okay, let's go.
Go,
We
go,
got
go.
this. Oh my god, go. Oh no, it's so close. Oh my god. We made it. Just sell.
Throw them.
Okay. I'm throwing my wood, throwing my stone. Yeah, put that coop down.
Who's buying?
Oh, I thought Wickedy was.
Johnny,
Oh, it's me.
grab the stuff.
Okay, I need 25 more wood. Somebody's got my stone. No.
Oh, wait, say that.
No, it's fine. Wait, no, I don't have the stone. Okay, we got it.
I'm
Just block
talking
her from the door.
Just stay. Just
Stay.
hey, friend.
Shawnee disappeared.
Okay, wait. Oh, okay, we got it. Oh my god.
We did it!
Flawless victory.
We had just barely done it, with the final coop being placed down at 5:10. Technically after she closes at 5, but luckily if you open up the menu before 5 o'clock, you can keep it open until you decide to exit out of it. If you're still confused about how I was able to copy in Lee's clay pattern, all you need to remember is that the clay pattern is based on the amount of tiles hoed by the player, and not by the entire world. If that was the case, Lee and Blade clay farming would constantly be messing up each other. This meant that since I had never hoed another tile in this run, I was able to just start where Lee's pattern did and execute her same exact pattern. Regardless, we did it. It was down to the wire, but somehow we were able to build a coop on day 1 of Stardew, accomplishing Robin's almost impossible quest before she could even assign it to us. Thank you guys all so much for watching. Make sure to let me know in the comments down below what other feats you'd like to see me do on day 1 of Stardew. Bye!